Right, so today I wanted to talk a little bit more about gun control in Canada. There's some important stuff going on lately, so I wanted to make another video about it. And this is a pretty interesting thing here, and from the National Telegraph saying Erin O'Toole won't commit to fully repealing Trudeau's gun ban. And this is very interesting for many reasons because this is one of the only reasons that people can point to vote conservative, to be quite honest. In fact, it may be the only reason. And funny enough, it turns out to be BS from the looks of things. And this is one of the many reasons that I have not supported the conservatives in quite some time. Um, in that they're not actually conservative. I mean, in a nutshell, they're not actually conservative, but it's stuff like this, right? And here's the other reason too, that even prior to seeing this, I mean, I said many times too, like many times, that I don't trust O'Toole on this stuff, and sure enough, my hunch turns out to be right. And again, how do we know this? Like, I mean, O'Toole has turned out to be a complete sellout on pretty much everything else. What makes you think he's going to keep his word when it comes to guns, right? Like, what makes you think he's going to keep his word? So, um, this is the big problem when it comes to pretty much everything in Canada right now, is that there's no legitimate opposition, and there's no one you can vote for that's actually going to make a significant difference. Now, again, personally, um, even though I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, I would still recommend people vote for, PPC or Wexit parties, basically. I mean, if you're in the East, then you're kind of screwed, but at least at the provincial level, but um, or don't vote. To be quite honest, not voting's not that bad either, right? But again, like this is the problem in Canada right now, is that there's no legitimate opposition. There's nobody. Well, there is some people, right? That there is some people, but there is nowhere near. I guess a better way of putting it is that there's nowhere near enough people actually fighting um, for the right thing, that to where there's actually going to be a significant difference made, right? Like Erin O'Toole has made it very clear that on a lot of issues, his goal is to out liberal the liberals. Like, what makes him think that's going to work? Like, again, like one of two things is going on. Again, this the same thing goes for the UCP as well. One of two things is going on here. Either the UCP, the Conservatives in Ontario, the Conservatives at a federal level, um, are complete sellouts and always have been. That's the first option. Or the second option is very simple, in that the people advising them are so incompetent it's not even funny. Because again, like if I was running the UCP, like if I was running the UCP, for example, even the federal Conservatives, and my goal was to um, was to piss off the greatest amount of people, if my goal was to alienate the most amount of people, I would be doing what they're doing. Like, aside from literally having, live press conferences telling everyone to go F themselves, we don't care about you. I don't think there's much more they could be doing to alienate more people, to be quite honest. I seriously do not think. I mean, you look at the UCP in Alberta, like, again, they talk a big game on a lot of things, but what have they actually gotten done? Like, what if they actually gotten done? Like, I can't think of anything. I mean, they probably have gotten some things done, but I can't think of anything significant they've done. I can't think of anything significant that if Erin O'Toole was in power right now, even with a majority government, that things would be any better than they are under Trudeau. That includes guns, right? Now, you can argue they may not have introduced the OIC, but at the end of the day, the way Canada's trending left. Like, Canada is trending left. Again, I've been saying this for 2 years now, and even longer, since before I was making these videos, that Canada is trending left. If people don't wake up to this, we're going to end up with a far left government in pretty much every single provincial government, if not every provincial government, and at a federal level, right? And it doesn't matter if they're a majority or not either, because there's the minor, like the NDP will support them, the Bloc will support them, the Greens will support them. Like, they have no trouble getting enough votes, right? So To be quite honest with people, I think we've gone too far down the rabbit hole. Like, I seriously think that's the case. Um, the Conservatives are not a legitimate opposition. Let's just say the Conservatives do manage to get elected next time around. They're not going to do anything significant enough to make a realistic difference, which means that the Liberals probably get elected the next time around, and then whatever they didn't get done to destroy Canada even further, they'll get it done, right? So at the end of the day, there's really no realistic scenario here. I mean, the realistic scenario, well, I mean, it's not that realistic, but the best thing is to fight for Wexit or PPC, right? That's the only option we have right now. PPC is not going to happen. Um, Wexit actually, I believe, is realistic, but I think the problem with that is that even if you did manage to get it done and manage to vote it in, the rest of Canada would still do everything in their power to sabotage it, right? So that's the problem with that. So at the end of the day, I think Canada's there's no realistic scenario I see for Canada going forward to it actually makes me feel optimistic. There is no realistic scenario I see. The most realistic scenario I see maybe happening, to be quite honest with people, is um, Alberta goes completely belly up. The NDP get voted in next time around. The NDP implements full on socialism, or at least what they can manage to get done. Um, Alberta, Alberta goes completely belly up, even more than we are right now. And in which it can, like Alberta becomes like de facto California kind of thing, right? To where all the rich people leave, even a lot of the poorer people leave because the province is destroyed, and eventually maybe an actual conservative government gets in, or an actual principled conservative government gets in and actually changes things for the better. But that's probably a full decade or two cycle, right? I mean, look at California. They've been doing these far left policies for 10, 20, quite a while now. Basically, what, like since 70s, 80s, maybe they were actually had their heads on straight, but it's been quite a while since that's happened, right? So the other thing I wanted to bring up here too is from Tracy Wilson saying, "While gun/gang crime continues to plague Canadian streets, the federal government is moving ahead with plans to outlaw airsoft." Right? Yeah, you heard that correctly. Now again, I don't know exactly what their aim is here. My guess is it's not banning all airsoft guns. Like I don't know if that's what their actual play is here, but the one thing I do know is that they want to ban all guns, at least the vast majority of guns. And again, when that doesn't work, well, what do you see in a lot of these other countries? Like, what do you see in like the UK, for example? Now they're going after knives, right? So people think that, oh, it's just going to be the guns, right? It'll just be the guns, but that's not the case. They're going to go after everything, right? They're going to go after literally everything. So people really need to understand that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure you check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms if you haven't already. If you want to donate, you could do that as well. Again, I would very much appreciate whatever support I can get. But like I said, at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.